is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana. It's Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, relax, put in those tweaked audio earbuds because you're about to listen to The Art of Wrestling. It's a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entryway into the minds, the souls, the hearts, and the lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I'm your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I am a Chicago native. I am a world traveler, a personality, a live podcaster, but most importantly, I'm a professional wrestler, and I am sitting here live in the studio, apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Hey, before we go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. We give it to you free of charge every single Thursday on WeLoveColt.com, Stitcher Radio, and iTunes. A couple great ways you can support, rate, and review on iTunes. Tell some people out there, maybe social media, maybe via mouth, or if you do have a couple of dollars you want to give back monetarily, head on over to ColtMerch.com. T-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, and DigitalColt.com, where I have the premium podcast, $5 wrestling movies, and now the Wrestling Road Diaries available as a digital download thanks to TakedownPiracy.com, who will be on the hunt for all you pirates out there. Thanks for supporting. Make a purchase at DigitalColt.com and ColtMerch.com. All right, I got a couple of fun announcements for you just in a second, but if you haven't seen the description, which I assume you have, you would know that Jamie Dundee, JC Ice, PG-13's very own, joins me on the podcast this week, and this is what the podcast is all about. Honestly, sincerely, this is one of the guys when I started doing this that I was like, I would love to have Jamie on. I would love to have him sit down uncensored and just talk about wrestling. And you know me, I don't try to lead the dirt. And Jamie, we don't really get into dirt really that much. And that's the fun part because a lot of people know Jamie Dundee is a guy who likes to shoot or shit on people. But the reality is we just go through this awesome life that Jamie's been, I guess, a part of, privileged to be a part of, maybe hated to be a part of, whichever way you look at it. You know, Jamie will tell it like it is. Invited me into his home. We sat down right next to his I Love Jamie room and we talked about wrestling, a lot about Memphis wrestling, but just wrestling in general. And I was ecstatic to have Jamie on the podcast and just to see him again, just to talk to him. You know, he's always a part of the Gathering of the Juggalos every year. He's going to make a cameo on Wrestling Road Diaries 2 when it comes out. I don't know when it's coming out, guys, but he'll be in it. He'll be making a cameo. And now I get to see him an extra time as we sat down on the podcast. Lots of fun. What wasn't fun was jumping back on that flight back to America from Australia, but I did have a great time. Capped it all off. I was in Melbourne. I was in Canberra. I was in Brisbane, up the Gold Coast, made a lot of new friends, made a lot of great friends, met a lot of people. I can't make a list of all the people that I made friends with, but you get the idea. You know who you were. A lot of fans who love the podcast, who came out, a lot of people who told me they'd never been to local wrestling and they know the podcast and I was coming. That's the kind of stuff that I love to hear. Hopefully now you're a fan of independent wrestling and you go back and you check out those promotions. I can't come to Australia every week. I wish I can, but go support your local wrestling. A lot of great fun wrestling over there. All right, let's get into some announcements. The first one's not an official announcement, but a lot of you guys last week, thanks to the power of the internet, thanks to the power of Twitter, a certain YouTube show that likes to eat wild portions of food and a certain podcaster and champion from Chicago are in talks. Look for some cool stuff to come from that. And speaking of podcasters and champions from Chicago, let's throw them in the mix with THQ. We're giving stuff away, but I can't announce it by myself. I'm going to need a certain somebody with me. THQ WWE13 is in stores now. It has been in stores. It is doing great. My man right here, CM Punk, is on the cover of it. How's it feel being a cover boy?
Oh, it feels good, and I didn't have to take my clothes off.
Well, kind of, you did.
Well,
you were shirtless, like the princess.
I suppose the princess. What do you mean?
Kate Beckinsale? Wait, is that her name?
I don't get it.
Who's the Princess of England?
Wasn't it Pippa or something?
Okay, you're just as dumb as me. Good.
No, I'm not dumb. I just don't care about politics whatsoever, least of all things that happen across the pond.
Well, that was a while ago. The princess got naked or topless. So as a part of this awesome sponsorship, I guess, by THQ and the Art of Wrestling podcast,
yes,
we get to give away some goodies.
Yes, we do.
That's, first of all, how awesome is THQ as a company? They're just like, here, have some money. We love your podcast. Can
can we just give you stuff to give away?
Absolutely.
And,
It's a fantastic company.
I think it works well for both of us. No rules, no limitations. They're just like, do your thing.
That's excellent. That's perfect. Yes.
It's perfect for me. Perfect for you, of course. So my thoughts are, here's what we'll do. This week, starting this week, we'll put out this contest on Twitter. Hashtag WWE13. Hashtag Colt Punk. One word, Colt Punk. And,
why are you first? Why is
because
it?
it's my podcast.
All right.
And I thought about that too. And the contest is you can create a player in this thing. That's part of the great thing about it. You can create all types of different people, independent, Japanese, lucha libre, podcasters.
Korean, Eskimo.
You can't say that.
Canadians. You can't say Eskimo?
No.
Why?
Very un-PC.
What is it?
I learned that when I was up in Iqaluit.
Really?
Yeah, not
So what is
good.
it? Wait, I know the word.
I'll bleep it out.
Don't come on.
Okay, I won't bleep
So
it.
what's Eskimo kisses then?
Iqaluit kisses.
Really?
No, I don't know what it is.
Cab Calloway kisses?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So I think the goal here in the game here is to create Colt Cabana.
Yes.
And
Because
then
I'm already in the game.
CM Punk is
Yeah.
not needed to be created. And then make the funniest either tag match or regular match, whatever. Make the funniest scenario you can.
Or they could create a CM. They could create like 04 CM Punk.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
crappy
Like
CM Punk possible. LWF CM Punk.
yes, exactly. Blonde hair, short hair, long hair with beard, bald, long haired, no beard. Yeah, that might be funny.
All right. Make the best Colt Cabana CM Punk. Throw him in the ring, get yourself a screen capture, and then take a picture and post it to Twitter.
Yes.
All right?
That sounds like a good plan. I would immediately make a Colt Cabana and CM Punk from Ring of Honor like circa 04 and put him in the ring against two midgets called the Havana Pit Bulls. That's what I would
Well,
do.
that actually happened.
Yeah, I know.
The options are endless. The two funniest ones Punk and I will choose. We'll get a THQ WWE13 video game signed by CM Punk.
Wow.
Signed by CM Punk.
Yep.
And they will also get their screen capture or their picture signed by both Colt Cabana and CM Punk.
Cool.
And then we'll have five runner-ups, and they will just get the picture of their picture signed by Colt Cabana and CM Punk.
That's still cool.
I think it's a winner.
Yep.
Send that picture, hashtag WWE13, and hashtag Colt Punk. You like that?
COLTPUNK.
I look forward to it.
And who knows? You never know. I could be generous and throw some extra stuff into the winners, which I've been known to do. But
Really?
Yeah.
I put now my new thing in the packages at coltmerch.com. I throw in like old WWF cards.
Yeah, just like whatever's lying around your house, I would probably be throwing in the garbage.
Old Cubs stubs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just put this in there. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's the contest, guys. Starting this week, hashtag WWE13, hashtag Colt Punk. Send us the funniest pictures. Create your own wrestlers. Then we'll send you 2 autographed video games. And what I want you guys to do is then give your video games to a friend and spread the word about this great thing.
And I might give you Starbucks gift cards.
Ooh.
But maybe not.
How about Subway?
I'm not in the Subway.
Bastard.
Sorry, Jared.
Song of the Week this week brought to you by barbershopwindow.com. Hey, wrestling fans, it's cool again to wear pro wrestling t-shirts thanks to these guys. Tons of original art and ideas. They got a clearance page, a hoodie section, a Cliff Compton section, and up now is a new shirt with all proceeds going to help the victims of Hurricane Sandy. Follow them on Twitter at bshopwindow and make a purchase at barbershopwindow.com. The song this week, I had a couple of choices, but I went with Nation of Domination, the theme song, but this time rapped by JC Ice, Jamie Dundee himself, and Wolfie D. Enjoy it, and we'll be back with the man himself, Jamie Dundee.
We are the nation of domination. Nation of domination.
We are the nation, come alive and in color. Don't diss the man, or we'll bum rush your mother. Listen what I'm saying, it's for real, not playing. Farouk is the man, hit your knees and start praying.
Nation of domination.
Got power like the bear, but quick like the cat. Put 2 and 2 together, feel your face on the mat. You count the stars while the ref counts 3. Hope you like the look of sailors, cause that's all you're gonna see.
We are the nation of domination.
He's harder than a rock and he can't be stopped. You suckers step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. The boys from the hood are on the MIC. Spitting out the rhymes is JC Ice and Wolfie D. Clarence Mason is the boss, crossing T's and dotting I's. He tells the truth, the whole truth, and never tells a lie.
Nation of domination. Nation of domination. We are the nation of domination.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, each week we bring you the Art of Wrestling podcast absolutely free of charge. We're able to do that because of our supporters and sponsors, so please take a second, go on over and check these guys out. OneHourTees.com, custom t-shirts made to your liking in an hour a week for whenever you need them. Are you a wrestler, a band, a promoter, or just somebody who needs something on a shirt? Go get it at OneHourTees.com, SundayNightStew.com. Hollywood superstar Stu Stone is live and interactive every Sunday night at SundayNightStew.com. HighSpots.com, the best independent wrestling superstore in the world. Go get yourself some Christmas gifts. Check out all the masks, books, DVDs, and so much more. HighSpots.com, TweakedAudio.com/Colt, the best earbuds that I use every single day. Get over 30% off and free shipping because you're a listener of this show. Get it done at TweakedAudio.com/Colt. If you want to advertise on the Art of Wrestling podcast, you can. Just send an email over to ColtWrestling@gmail.com. Subject: advertising. Thanks.
Jamie, you were playing a little poker?
Playing a little poker online. That's what I do with my spare time because I'm such a busy man.
You're sitting in your castle. You got a beer in one hand, a cigarette in the other. You got this. What's in this box
That's
here?
a pop box, man. That's Smoking Joe Camel. You look, it's my pop box.
There's some You're not shy about saying there's marijuana in here.
No, I have a card. I have a medical card.
Oh yes. Has that reached Kentucky yet?
No, but I just I have one anyway.
Sure, Obama gave you one.
Fuck yeah, anybody knows me knows I deserve one.
You do deserve one. We are in you just showed me your room, by the way.
My I Love Jamie room. Yeah, that's my my mother says my hoarding room. I say my life.
Yeah, it's in, and when sometimes wrestlers are like, they don't want to say that they're fans of themselves, so they watch their own stuff.
Well, I always told everybody. If I wasn't on it, I didn't watch it. I got no reason to watch this if I'm not on it.
It's a good thing you were on like everything, right?
Well, yeah, I was. From like 88 to 2000, I was on everything.
You were everywhere. And you're such an enigma in just in wrestling and everything. And I think what's important is like there's a lot of us, my generation, who like there's something romantic about that Memphis era or those guys.
Sure. That without Memphis, there wouldn't be no stars of today. Wouldn't be no. Well, let me rephrase. There wouldn't be no Hulk Hogan's. Wouldn't be no Randy Savages. Wouldn't be no, because everybody had wanted and had to go through Memphis. And after you went through Memphis, if you was good enough to work in Memphis, you were good enough to work anywhere.
Would you say it was like a lifestyle though?
Well, sure it was.
Yeah. And maybe describe the Memphis lifestyle.
It was a mafia. I mean, no matter what anybody says, when I was growing up, nobody came to my house. Because you might smarten somebody up. You know what I'm saying? No, none of my friends from school were allowed to ever come over my house. And if they did, it was like on a weekend when my dad had to leave on Friday night, stay over, do Memphis TV Saturday, but they had to be gone by Saturday afternoon because, what if he brought some heels home or something? Everything was such a, I always said my mother hung out with wrestlers' wives, my daddy hung out with wrestlers, and I hung out with their kids. And
that's all you knew.
That was it.
Now your father, Bill Dundee.
Right, Bill.
He was from, I don't want to fuck this up. He was in Scotland, but he was from...
Well, he was from a town called Kirriemuir, Scotland, which was 8 miles from Dundee. And that's where he got the last name Bill Dundee. My father was born William Crookshanks. And he, when he got to America, he realized, because, see, there's a poster over there on that wall. It's my dad's very first poster that my grandmother gave me when I went back to Australia, 1963. And he was Billy Dundee then. So, he wrestled as Billy Dundee. And so when we came to America, he legally changed his name to Bill Dundee.
So legally, he is a Dundee.
Yeah, and I'm a Dundee, too. My passport, my green card, my Social Security card, everything I have is done in Dundee.
Why do you have a green card?
Because I was born in Sydney, Australia.
Were you really?
I was raised here since I was 4. The wrestlers used to give me dollars to say, "Go fuck yourself," because I spoke Australian.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was 4 years old, and I'd say, "Go fuck yourself, mate," and so they would all give me dollars to say it again.
But that's quickly changed to a Memphis twang,
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, I grew up in Nashville, and you know, out of sight, out of mind. And,
Yeah.
but the only people to talk to was my mom and dad. So I just became. I went to school here. I was raised in Nashville, so I'm just this redneck guy.
And you watched your father, become the staple of Memphis wrestling, and like you said, changed wrestling forever, right?
Sure. You know, see, my father started in 1963. They wrestled in the pubs in Australia. They wrestled on Friday, Saturday nights in the bars. And then he met a guy named Bobby Shane, and Bobby Shane was killed in a plane crash with it was Austin Idol, Gary Hart, Ric Flair, I think. I don't, it was a bunch of them, but Bobby Shane was the only one that died.
That was one of the most memorable.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Bobby died, but he was the one that brought us to America because I was just talking to my mom the other day. I said, well, where was it? Because I remember her telling me there was 3 choices. He chose Memphis, came to Nashville, but the other one she told me was Mexico and Canada. And she come from Australia. We would have moved to Canada, it would have been over. She wouldn't have stayed. It's too cold. And Mexico, no English. My mom said, I'm not going nowhere where they don't speak. I don't understand what the hell they're saying. So,
Right. So they met over.
yeah, they met in the they were married in 1965.
Okay.
So, my mom, that's a pretty hell of a woman too. You tell a woman, look, we're going to move to America and I'm going to be a wrestler and pack up your 2 kids, sell
Right.
everything we got, here we go.
Was he sent? Was the option to go somewhere with him being sent or people wanting?
Well, it was part of Bobby Shane was coming back and forward from Australia to America, and they were always swapping town around, and they were like, hey, Bill and George are good. George Barnes and Bill Dundee, the Australians said these guys are good. And they worked out. They had bodies before anybody else had bodies. You know what I'm saying? So they were unique to see because most wrestlers were green tongued or
Yeah.
they had a gimmick.
I just watched something with Edouard Carpentier and he was jacked. It was like 1950 something.
Right. See, my dad said his heroes were Tarzan,
Okay.
Johnny Weissmuller.
All right.
'Cause he had a big chest, and so that's when my dad growing up as a kid, because people just didn't work out back then. You know what I'm saying? It was probably unheard of. It was senseless. Nobody even understood it, I would say. Oh, sorry about that.
No, Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan, that was my dad's hero. He said always Johnny Weissmuller.
Okay.
The original Tarzan was my dad. That's what started him working out in 1960.
Very cool. And so when you're here, is there a point where is he taking you to the matches and not telling you about the wrestling?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Never smarting your kids up, your family up. No, your wives were smart, I guess. But I can remember lots of guys marrying wives that then they weren't smart. By the time I was 12 or 13, I had figured it out. I was smart. But I can remember being a little kid, man, waking up. It was Danny Davis, Larry Latham, and Wayne Ferris.
Honky Tonk.
Right,
Man.
Honky Tonk.
Who's
Man,
Larry Latham?
Moondog Spot. Okay. Larry Latham, Moondog Spot, and then Danny Davis, of course, from OVW now. They were called the Blonde Bombers. They were wrestling my dad in Lawler. It was about 1978, I guess, so it made me about 7 years old. And I remember being at National Fairgrounds, and they did a finish where Danny Davis would hit you with this canteen. He would pull the canteen out, and that was the finish. He would hit and I remember my dad in Lawler and them getting it away from him. So I remember waking up, and I come downstairs, because I heard the noise and stuff, and there they were sitting. And I was just looking at them like, what in the fuck are they doing here, man? So, of course, my dad just says, well, boy, they want me to turn to their side. What do you think? Even right then, they all started working. Well, Bill, we want you to come over and be with us. And I just told him, don't you give that canteen back to him, Pop. He said, I won't, man. And I went back upstairs and they even, at that moment, drinking and partying, they still weren't going to let you smarten up. They just figured out a way to turn it right then.
But you were, explain your childhood within Memphis wrestling. Were you at every show? Were you?
No.
Okay.
Because the babyface stars back then weren't supposed to have families and wives because, there's no cable TV, there's no internet, there's no way to find nothing out. And it was Memphis on Monday nights, Louisville on Tuesday, Evansville, Indiana on Wednesday. My father let me come to Evansville, Indiana about 3 or 4 times. That was it. But I went every Saturday night to the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Okay.
But plus they all had ring rats and other girlfriends and wives, and so no telling what else they had because they made a lots of money. And, and it was the 70s. It was most person made a $13,000.
There was this quote-unquote rule that you can't bring your family, but it was because they wanted to.
Of course it was. and the hot baby faces, you get the Rock and Roll Express over, you get the Midnight Rockers over. You can't have the girls knowing they got families. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they're always single. They're always just lonely. They're, just whatever to bring in the women. Because they always said if girls come to wrestling, boys come to fuck them. Right. So that sells the building out.
Well,
you draw women, you sell out.
Was it the Fantastics that coined the term blowjobs? Or
yeah, maybe Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton. They I would say the fabulous one.
I'm sorry, Steve Kerr.
Yeah, Steve Kerr, Stan Lane. Yeah. No doubt, definitely.
And that's a term that would go around. It was like coined, right?
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, but the Fabs were they were unbelievable how over they were, man. I mean, but also, it's like anything. You start to believe you're bigger than the gimmick in a sense. I guess everyone, because they walked out on, it was 1979 or 78 or whatever, 98. They walked out on $1,500 a week, and
they went to AWA. Right?
Yeah, right, and died. It was over for him. I was glad next time you saw Steve Kearney, he was a big fat guy called Skinner.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
do you remember your dad bitching about that, or?
Well, not really my dad, because at the time that happened, we were in Louisiana. My dad had already did the thing where he lost the loser leave town to Lawler, and we went down to Louisiana booking for Bill Watts. And that was like, hell, that's what I remember mostly growing up was moving.
Right.
We're fucking moving again.
but he was a staple in Memphis.
Yeah, he was. But then from the 80 to about 86, 87, he went everywhere. We went to North Carolina to Charlotte for Crockett. We stayed there 2 years. Then we went to Louisiana and stayed there for 2 years. But in between that, come back to Memphis. Do 2 years for Crockett or whatever, and then come back to Memphis. Stay in Memphis a year or two, then off to Louisiana for a year or two, and then back to Memphis for a year or two. And then we went, and then I remember it was 87, 88. We were in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was buck wild because Charlotte was wild, man. Charlotte was crazy. Charlotte was cocaine capital of the world, and everybody done it. It just seemed like a normal thing to do, I reckon. I mean, really. And so I remember we were going to move from there to Tampa, Florida. My dad was going to buy Dusty Rhodes' house, and we was going to move down to Florida. And I remember getting in the car with my mama, and I woke up, and we were in Nashville. I said, what are we doing in Nashville? My mom was like, you think I'm taking your cocaine-down ass to fucking Tampa, Florida? You lost your mind. I'm like, oh, no, I'm going with my daddy. And my daddy's like, no, you ain't coming with me. I'm coming home.
Have you seen that documentary? I think cocaine. It's a cocaine documentary about like in the Miami trade of going to the.
Oh yeah, I have watched the actual whole documentaries and stuff on the Pablo Escobar and George Young. They made the movie Blow about them, but I've seen the real FBI footage and all that they do on this channel I got called ID that does all that real stuff. And man, that's. Brother, if you did any cocaine in the 80s, you did Pablo Escobar and George Young's cocaine in the United States of America. That's fucking amazing to wonder. But, I mean, they're both ended up broke and homeless or whatever and murdered. I mean, there's only two places they could end up, prison and murdered. But they had it going on, man.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So, like your childhood, I mean, you're bouncing back and forth. I know you were a wild child, right?
Yeah, why?
Were you ever like a normal child?
I don't think so, because at 4 years old, my dad and Tommy Rich got me drunk and held ice cubes and pierced my ear.
Stop it.
Yeah, I had my fucking first hangover. I was puking, throwing up. I mean, I was literally drunk, and my dad and Tommy got me drunk. But it was 1976.
Yeah.
Well, you could do that. It was funny.
The statute of limitations is over. We can't get in trouble for this.
I tell my dad and Tom Rich all the time, I sue both of you motherfuckers. Because you know what I'm saying? I'd say that had to affect my brain to make me retarded like I am today. It had to. I mean, you're giving me beer at that young age. And then I remember being 10, 11 years old, smoking pot and starting, and then cocaine about 13. And just, it just...
When were you fucking, man? It had to be like 4.
No, I was scared. I was scared when I remember them girls tried to put pussy on me all the time when I was a kid.
Was there the Memphis lady workers trying to like...
No, never none of the workers. Because at 8 years old, I remember my father, I used to tell him, man, because like I said, he let me go every Saturday night. And I had little jumpsuits made just like his. I got them in my room, little bitty Elvis jumpsuits. They say Superstar on them, look just like Elvis, like my dad wore, but... And I would say, Daddy, them fucking women smell, man. They smell like cigarettes and beer and shit. And they want hugs and kisses. And so he said, well, charge them. And I thought, all right, I will. So I charged them $1 hug, $2 for a kiss. And from that moment on, it was over for me.
And how much for a kiss on the penis?
I remember the first time my dad and Ricky Morton tried to get me laid. We were in Thibodaux, Louisiana. We were in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and this chick about 15 or 16. I was 12 years old, I think. And she was trying to put that pussy on me in there, and I ran through the building, jumped in the car. I guess.
How old do you think she was?
16, 15, 16, maybe 18. I don't know. She just had titties and shit, and I was scared. I was scared of her, man. But after that first time, brother, it was on them, man. Because women were plentiful in Memphis wrestling.
Yeah.
And they were plentiful. They just came, and the ones they all come to see couldn't fuck them all. They could only pick one or two that night. You know what I'm saying?
Rock star shit, man.
That's right.
It's Motley Crue stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they could only pick fucking one or two, and the rest of them, somebody, the roadies got me, had to get. You know, I would go sell my dad's pictures. That's what I would do. I would sell his pictures, and he would give me 10%. And hell, on some nights I could make $100. Which was a lot of fucking money.
Junior high school, especially, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Wherever.
Well, we did that first Sid Vicious angle where they broke my neck. I was still in ninth grade, and I still went to school, so I had to wear the fucking neck brace to school. And we worked the teachers, we worked the school board, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you didn't smarten nobody up. And I would tell my dad, "Fuck, man, I don't want to wear this neck brace. You wear that fucking neck brace." And
you want to eat, right?
Yeah, right. And I wore that neck brace because I was afraid that my dad would catch me without it, I'd be in trouble.
How long did you wear the neck brace?
About
for?
6 weeks or some fucking shit. I literally wore it so long that it began to hurt my neck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Working to give it. When I got home, I took it off. And being, a kid, a lot of times when I went to the hangout, I hung out in Rivergate, area by Rivergate Mall in Nashville there, and they had a place called Game Land. It was a big glass building with lots of pool tables. That's the only place I hung out, shooting pool all the time. I would take it off in there. Because, you know what I'm saying, most of them people, I have done told them, fuck this, my neck ain't hurt, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, let's roll a joint, motherfucker.
Hey, guys, if we can all keep a secret.
Yeah, right, come on, y'all, my neck ain't motherfucking hurt, y'all, because, especially all the ribbons, too. Oh, you got your neck broke, bitch, all that shit. Fuck you, my neck ain't broke.
Yeah.
I show y'all doing that.
Here's tickets to the fairgrounds.
Yeah, right.
Now be cool, guys.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, my daddy would let me take none of my friends to the show, man. You know what I'm saying? Like my school friends and the people that I hung out in school or went to parties with on the weekends or whatever. On Saturdays, I always wanted to go to fairgrounds because I knew I could sell kisses and hugs for dollars and make a few extra bucks. Plus, when I started partying and knew how to fuck, I definitely was just going to go with my dad and use it for what it's worth.
When did you, I guess, if you did the angle when you were ninth grade,
right?
Like, when do you consider your wrestling starting?
Well, I actually, I consider it 89, about 18, 19 years old, because that's when we did the angle. I turned on my dad. I was a referee, and I turned on my dad, and then I started managing Stone Cold and the Dirty White Boy and Doug Gilbert, and I consider that's about when I started, even though it was on and off. From that moment on, I wrestled. Like, even when I wasn't working for Jarrett's, I worked Outlaws. I worked Central City, Beaver Dam, Athens, Alabama.
Did you graduate high school?
Oh, no, hell no.
No,
I did 3 years, 8th grade.
Jamie, I was going to be like, I was going to say, like, listen, it's going to be mean of me to ask that question.
No,
but I'm assuming you maybe did.
Oh, no. I did 15 years. I did kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 4th. And then I did 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 8th. And then I went to 9th.
3 years in 8th?
Yeah, I was there so long. Brian Christopher said I was there so long, the kids were bringing me apples. So, I did 3 years, 8th grade, and I was actually I turned 16 years old, and I was still in 8th grade, and I had a mustache, and I could drive, and they're like, Mr. Dundee, you're not allowed to drive to 8th grade, so you must move on. So they put me in 9th grade, and then that's when my dad said, come on, man, and I started managing that angle and shit like that.
And he was okay with that. Was your mom okay with that?
No,
Probably not, huh?
My sister married a wrestler, and I became one, so my mother's never been okay with neither one of them.
Right, but it was inevitable, right?
Of course it was.
Yeah.
I mean, who else did we ever hang around or see? You know what I'm saying? Well, who else? But, I mean, if I wanted a brother-in-law I could pick him, Bobby Eaton would have been the choice for me because I love Bobby.
And was he like a little mentor for you, or was he?
Yeah, I was always a big mark for Bobby. Bobby was a working motherfucker.
I think everybody was.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby and Shawn Michaels are probably two of the best workers in our business, bar none. But I mean, Bobby's so humble, and Bobby's one of them type of guys that he doesn't give himself enough credit. You know what I'm saying? He don't think he's good enough, or I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck, man, Bobby's the best in the world.
Yeah, well, I was talking with Punk, and he was just saying, like, he's got this program coming up, and he's like, I got to do my best Bobby Eaton to make this guy look good, So it's still a thing by the champion up
you're
there.
Damn right. See that? So, I mean, way to go, Punk.
He's still recognized. Punk, Punk shared a story about, I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Jamie's house, and he's like, oh, when I was sitting in the IWA locker room and Jamie Dundee came up to me and he's like, you doing this hardcore shit? And he's like, No. He's like, whoa, a wrestler in this locker room? And then he said you guys came up with this whole thing of you were gonna open a store called Gimmicks and sell all the barbed wire and shit to all the other workers and make some money.
Right, and the guy did it, called it Hot Spots.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
So I mean, yeah, hell yeah. Well, I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see people don't forget where they came from. That's
of course,
cool. Way to go, Punk.
Of course,
and you're over with me now.
And it's important that I think I bring up Punk because Punk did this promo a year ago where he was like a real on TV. He said this thing. Did you see this promo
Like
where
I
he
said, I
sat
don't watch
down?
wrestling years, but I did watch CM Punk do an interview the other night against Vince McMahon, and I thought it was wonderful.
And well, he did one about a year ago where he broke all the rules. He was like a total rebel. He said hi to me on television, which I'd been fired 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
He said I'm going to Ring of Honor. I'm going to New Japan, and basically like he was a real fucking outlaw. And because of it, he signed like this huge fucking contract. Now you were like the original fucking. It's a fine line between who's the guy who's being a fucking rebel.
You're
and who's
right, and that goes back. See, I'm stuttering here. That goes back to it. You have to, like when they called me and Wolfie to the WWF to do that rap thing. By standards of the land, by law of the land, you're supposed to go there, be quiet, earn your way. And, but the way I saw it is that it wasn't like they didn't know who the fuck they called. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they called Jamie Dundee, it wasn't like they went, wonder what this guy's all about. Let's bring him up and see. So for them to think that I would come up and shut my mouth and just be quiet and just make my way through the ranks or whatever and be there or whatever, and then I can't believe they would even figure that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why? What the fuck do you mean? Who are you trying to convince, me or you? Because, I definitely know that you motherfuckers called me. I didn't call you, and I was happy right where I was. And, if I could change a few things, sure, I would have. I probably would have changed. I would change the $700 fucking cab bill and 5 hours late and all that. Definitely, I would change that.
Which is what got you fired, right?
Well, yeah, more or less. But it's Brian Christopher's fault. Brian Christopher gave me the dope. He was fucking kept pumping me up with pills and shit the night before. He changed my flight, so 99.9% of the heat is on Brian, but you can't blame Brian for what I did. You know what I'm saying? I can't blame Brian for what I did, but also I can blame Brian because he changed my plane ticket. We're supposed to drive back to Nashville on Sunday night. I fly out Monday morning. Well, he had some bimbo with him, and she got arrested. So we had to turn around and go back to Louisville, and they just kept giving me Valiums and Xanaxes and blah, and then they kicked in, and it was over. But, really, I should have never, ever even showed up. It would have been better to miss it.
Right.
Show up like I did, man.
Yeah.
And I just saw Mankind a few weeks ago at that Nashville show, and I told him thank you because he was the only one that picked me up off the floor and said, "Lil Dundee, I've known you a long time, man." I said, "I hate to see you fucking your career up like this. You need to get in the shower and wake up, man, because what you do tomorrow doesn't affect my life one bit. But he at least tried to help me. And I was just so fucked up, man. I should have never been there."
Do you think like you being fucked up and like being like an outcast that you are, like did that grow you to that point or?
Well,
right. Were you? Admittedly, are you a guy that was always like fuck everybody or?
No, I wasn't because I knew. You know what I'm saying. I grew up with my dad as a booker and you know what I'm saying. I still knew. You know what I'm saying? I knew whose ass I needed to kiss. Wouldn't not really kiss their ass, but I knew, who was in charge that I needed to not cross them or piss them off or say nothing to them, but I could say to everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that whole deal there, if we would have just came back to Nashville on the Sunday night, just like normal, I would have went to my bed or room. If I could passed out, I would have got up. I'd have caught my flight. I'd have went there, and I wouldn't have been fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But since it was one of these ordeals all night trying to figure out, I never went to bed. And I kept drinking, and I kept partying. And then when I got on the plane, I passed out. And then by the time I got into town, I was 200 miles away from where I was supposed to be. So I was in the wrong town. And then I had to take a cab 200 miles. And then when I get there, I got a $500 cab bill, and I'm fucked up. And, because I can't blame Brian, but I can blame Brian. But Brian was really doing what he thought was the right thing, because at that time, Brian had never did no party. So he knew if he didn't get me on this plane, his dad is going to be mad as fuck at him. It was going to be his fault.
Brian didn't party up to that?
No, Brian didn't party in 1997, 98, 99. Brian never did nothing.
Because he's known these days.
He's pretty good at it now, they say. But,
he's the talented.
But I always said, damn, Brian, how do you go from nothing to fucking shooting dope?
It seems, isn't that like, there are a lot of the stories like that, it seems like, are the guys that are just total, and you'll hear the stories of like,
nothing.
I worry for myself.
They went from nothing, nothing. It took me years to go from marijuana to cocaine. And it took me years to go from cocaine to crack. But I never put a needle in my arm because I knew I would probably like it. It seemed to like everything else. So I never, ever crossed that line. And I just don't know. I wouldn't know where to go to get it. And, you know, and I'm a party dude that knew the streets, and I still wouldn't know where to go get heroin or drugs you shoot. And for Brian Christopher just to go from nothing to arm dope, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where did you go? But maybe that comes from knowing the steroid guys with the needles and all that, and all them guys.
What's the hardest shit you did? Crack, you said?
Yeah, crack is what fucked my career up. I smoked lots of crack.
Do you have what's the craziest place you've gone to get crack?
Oh my God, it make Puerto Rico in the fucking projects by myself with my mohawk and my attitude. And, you know, and no problems, knock on wood, because, I mean...
Do you think that, like, you were, like, a fun little novelty
Sure,
Puerto
sure.
Ricans?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, loco gringo, man.
Yeah.
He's fucking this loco gringo, yeah. But
He's got to be crazy.
But also, you know, with the island being 100 miles long and fucking 60 miles wide, they watch that television show.
Sure.
And we're on that TV show every fucking week, and they're like, fucking luchador, yeah, amigo,
Nice.
amigo. So, I mean, in a sense, you're still a celebrity there because they know you just because you're white, first of all. Well, what the fuck's a white guy doing here? And then second of all, he's a luchador. So, I mean, it's always... I've seen Brian Lee fucking manhandle handfuls of them. I'm like, wow. But I believe if we did today, they would kill us because they're nuts now. They're crazier now.
You think?
Yeah, I remember Wolfie and me getting in that fight with that cop Armadito Santiago. Wolfie put that Bengay in his eye. He flew off that island the next morning, man, and... He and that cop banged on our hotel door, and he's like, "Amigo, where's the Wolfie? I come to kill the Wolfie." I'm like,
Come
man.
to kill the Wolfie.
Yeah, his brother was a cop, his daddy was a cop, and they were all there. They were just going to back each other's story.
Did you...
You know, I just said, "Amigo, Wolfie went back to America." He said, "Ice, you fight with honor, you protect your partner, and it's good, amigo, but your friend put something in my eye, and I killed a Wolfie."
Were you scared that they were going to take it on you? You had to, man.
Yeah, it was one of them, I never thought of it till they knocked on the door moments.
Right.
When I opened the door, there they stand. You don't have time to think about it.
Gotcha.
It's like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Because he said, "I come to kill the Wolfie." I'm like, Wolfie gone. And then, but I tell you what I was a little more nervous about was the Invader. The Invader calls me, "Hey, amigo, can I talk to you?" I'm thinking, no, fuck no, you can't talk to me. That's how Bruiser Brody started, you know. Well, I told my partner, Mike Anthony, the guy that took me into all there and shit, I'm like, "Mike, he wants to talk to me, man. Why don't we all go?" So me and him and Dobie and about 5 of us. I'm like, "Well, let's all go see what he wants." He's like, "You're a friend of Wolfie. He's crazy. You know, many, many things happen on my island." I'm thinking, you ain't shitting.
Jesus.
But he did get drunk with me and Mike Anthony one time, and Invader and started crying, telling us about that year. He lost his son that year because he said then the incident with Frank. You know, and so, I mean, you know, I don't know. I just know that.
Did he self-admit anything, or?
No, he just said, I lost my son that year, then that incident with Frank.
And,
you know, and he just said, bad year for me, amigo.
Yeah.
And, you ain't kidding.
Right now, listen, I'm not under contract with anybody.
Right.
I'm doing all right for myself. I travel around the world.
Right.
And, like, that's the independent life that, like, I've always imagined. And, I know it's documented. You were the same way, man. And I remember seeing an interview with once. You're like, I was USWA here, ECW there, Puerto Rico there.
Same, yeah. In the 4-year span, we wasn't enough time in the day and wasn't enough spots to go. But I always said I wanted to go see everything with another person paying. You know, that's you can't beat that deal, man. I'm going to travel this world, especially if you're going to pay for it. Shit, I'm coming. Even if I don't make no money, I just live. I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? At least once.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? One time I'm going to go and I'm going to fuck as long as I eat, got a roof over my head and I get to wrestle, and you got me a ticket there and back, fuck it, I'm going. Because what do you got to lose? You know, same thing in America. When you stay and you do all traveling and do all the outlaw shit, you at the end, you really ain't got nothing to show for it anyway. As far as, you know, well, I get put $500 in the bank this week. No. You know, this $500 will start me next week on the road. You really don't make no money as far as, say, to put away or for a future, but I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I was living my dream. You know.
Did you think there was going to be some giant, like... So, like you said, you and Steve, you were managing Steve Austin. Those guys all came through. You watch those guys. Some of them become millionaires.
That's what was wrong when we went to the WWF. My dad gave Shawn Michaels his first job. I saw Mankind, Cactus Jack starved to death here for years. Scott Steiner starved to death for years. The Undertaker starved. You know, they weren't bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Because fuck you. Without my daddy, you wouldn't be where you are. So, you know, in a sense, and with my brother-in-law being Bobby Eaton, my daddy being Bill Dundee, fuck you. We are wrestling. My family's wrestling.
Right.
In the 70s, when all y'all were in high school, I was in the wrestling business. You know what I'm saying? So when I got there, I didn't go there as like I said, you're supposed to. How are you,
Young
sir?
developmental kid, right?
No, I've already developed, motherfuckers, and I can tell stories on all these some bitches, and they know it. You know what I'm saying? And so.
Was that your idea when you guys went there? Was like, help, Wolfie, we're gonna be millionaires.
No, never. My idea was let's get because we're on a pay-as-you-perform contract, $500 to sing the rap song on Monday night, work wherever we want, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we did Monday Night Raw, then we did Lawler Tuesday, Louisville Gardens, then we did Wednesday Evansville, then Thursday we would go to ECW and do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we come home on Sunday and recover and do it again.
And you see that that's that Raw as your commercial, then to get paydays other places.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but see, at that time, we were locked in with ECW, which was a major company, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we were locked in with fucking Lawler. And so actually we quit Lawler, I think is another thing that I say today that Chris Candido said, Dundee, I hate to hear y'all are fired. And I'm like, fuck you mean? And I'm like, oh, man, we damn sure are fired. It makes sense now. But I believe Lawler had a lot to do with it because we quit doing Tuesday and Wednesday for Lawler for $100. Fuck you. We're making $500 on Monday, $250 on Thursday, $250 on Friday, $250 on Saturday. That's $1,250 a week. Fuck you. We're tired. We don't want to work Tuesday and Wednesday for $100.
I'll trade in the $100 for sleeping in my bed for one.
Right. And he was like, well, that ain't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, he called us prima donna motherfuckers and all kind of shit. And I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about, ain't it? Ain't that what you're supposed to do in your life? And in business, you build it, you work every day, and then if you can cut down to 3, you do. If you cut down to 1, you do. Of course, who don't? But
look at Lawler. Well, actually, he works the weekend sometimes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I know
he figured it out to a Monday. Yeah, well, true. Let's talk about, I guess you and Wolfie being with the Nation of Domination. A, I want to know who wrote that song. B, I want to know did they try to give you a different name or anything?
Well, actually, they really gave us free reign, man, because this, I even got a letter back there that wants my Nation of Domination jacket back, because they owned it. Because they bought it, and they were like, please surrender, blah, blah, blah.
What was that, South Pole? That was...
I don't know what fucking WWF, but they're out of business now, so they can't ever get it. But
who, WWF?
Yeah, the WWF wrote us a letter and said, we own that jacket.
Right. Now there's only WWE.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But WWF said, we own that jacket, we own the whole name and those. See, if you buy the album in America, the second album, Music 2 and Nation Domination Theme, it doesn't have me and Wolfie rapping on it. But they sold it in England, Germany, all the other countries with our rap on it. But I guess because JC Ice and Wolfie D, we put our names in it to make sure that it was fucking...
Is that a move you did?
Well, of course. See, when we wrote it, we said, put our name in this, and it'll always be ours. Because, see, they own the Nation of Domination, but they didn't own JC Ice and Wolfie D. We don't own it. I mean, we just made it up and... we never copyrighted it or nothing, so we don't actually own it.
Technically, my friend who's a lawyer says if it's you own it, if there's a record of it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I got thousands of programs and videos and shit that we're calling JCI. So
good enough to own.
Good enough, right? Yeah. So
now that's a fucking that's being around the business for fucking so long is hey, let's.
So when they see our contract said we got $500 paid to perform, we didn't get no royalties. Where they had the right to use our likeness on any movie, video, blah, without paying us, blah, blah, blah. We only get paid when we perform, but we also only performed every show. So, which we figured, okay, it's 4 Monday nights and a fucking Raw and a pay-per-view, that's $5 a month, but we only got $500 per pay-per-view. No bonuses, no nothing. But I did get a royalty check last week for $300 from WrestleMania 13, where they sold it in a box set, I guess, or something.
Okay.
I got 0 pennies per copy, 1 cent for some. I said, how do you get 0 pennies per copy? If you get 1 for some, why don't you get 1 for everyone? But anyway, it was $300, and I was thrilled to have it. Fuck it.
That added up, though.
Yeah, hell yeah. And they sold $126,000 worth, and me and I guess Wolfie got one. We got $300 a piece.
Right. Well,
but I mean, it beats nothing because the contract said we got nothing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Someone's looking out for you.
Somebody up there is. Actually, the first time I started getting them, in 1999, 2000, I got shitloads. It was probably equal to about $3,000 or $4,000 because I called Wolfie and I said, "Did you get any royalty checks?" He's like, "No." I said, "Well, don't call him." And he's like, "Fuck you." I'm like, "No, don't call because you don't say in our contract said no royalty." I'm like, "No, don't fuck my shit up." But he said, "Fuck you." So he called him, and I don't blame him. I would have too. And they seen him in one lump sum. So he got $3,500 or whatever it was one fucking time. He bought a Mustang with it.
Right.
And I was like, "Wow, I would rather have mine that way for real." But anyway, and so I just got one the other day. It was just funny. My mom called me because my mama's lived in that house for the last 22 years. So every thing I ever had. I just kept my mom's address because I know if I go there, she would tell me if it was good or bad. She would say, "Oh, this came or this came," and so she said, "There's a royalty check here for you." I said, "Good, put it in the mail. It's free money."
Beautiful.
So I guess for life I'll get the WrestleMania one because they've been paying me since I can remember. Every time something new comes out, they pay me with a WrestleMania.
Did you have any other? Did they have any other stuff with you on there?
We did the WrestleMania 13. We did Survivor Series.
Do those guys make figures yet? Ringside Collectibles?
No, nobody.
They should.
You'll see. That's what I said because you know they could make a fucking limited edition with the rappers and make a mint.
Right.
Make a fucking mint because the rappers have never been done. You know they did Clarence Mason with Crush and Savio. Or Crush and Farouk, I think, and they in a 3-pack called the Nation Domination. But as far as the rappers, they never did them.
Who brought you guys in? Like, who?
Well, it was pretty funny. I guess Wolfie was talking with Jimmy Cornette. Because I remember Wolfie calling me, which is what a fucking rib that is. And he calls me and says, Jamie, quit smoking pot. I'm like, I ain't quit smoking pot. He's like, no, really, we're going to go to the WWF.
Oh, this was
right before the
I thought this was the other day.
No, fuck no. No, I don't think nobody will ever say that again. Jamie, you can go to WWF. I burned too many bridges. But I remember Wolfie called me. He said, quit smoking pot. I said, no, I'm not quit smoking pot. He said, yeah, quit smoking pot. We're going to go to WWF. So we talked to Jimmy Cornette. And
wait, he had to have hated you guys, right? He hates everybody.
No, well, see, Bobby Beaton's my brother-in-law.
Okay.
You know, he hates my dad.
Okay.
But he liked me. Right. You know, he didn't blame me for what my dad did to him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because my dad smacked him in the mouth, did all kind of god-awful shit to him I hear throughout the years. Same as fucking Paulie, and neither one of them ever held that against me.
Beautiful.
You know, because they all knew. I didn't like my dad too much growing up anyway. You know, I told Randy Savage when we met him, like, hey, brother, you're my hero. He's like, yeah. I said, yeah, remember when you beat my dad's ass in the parking lot? I said, broke that bone in his face. I said, you know, because my dad was a prick, man. My dad, you know what I'm saying, he was a prick. He wouldn't leave Bill Dundee at the building. But Wolfie talked to Jimmy Cornette, and they got something else. So then Wolfie says, they're sending us $500 a piece. They want us to go buy outfits. So we buy them black jackets. We buy these hats. We buy them patent leather Nikes. And we just wore black jeans we had. And so we put NOD on them first. On the back, we got them embroidered. And the first show, Vince said, no, that's too close to NWO. Get that off her. I wanted to say Nation of Domination, so we had to take them back and get them redone, which is cool. We just
surprised he knew what the NWO was.
Yeah. Well, it was right. It was because that was '97. That was right at the beginning of the Monday Night Wars or whatever the fuck it was. And so we of course, we went back and swapped them out and did what he asked.
Yeah. But before that, you know, I don't know if a lot of people knew. I mean, I was maybe 12 or 13, so I was young, but I did get USWA on my television in Chicago.
Late at night?
I think it was,
1 o'clock.
Early in the morning. Like, it was like 5 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, right. Because, see, I remember Jerry Jarrett started pumping it through the cable stations, you know what I'm saying, sending it, but it was months behind. You know what I'm saying? Like the AR angles weren't.
Yeah, because I would then see the guy, like I'd see the Truth Commission on TV and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right, it was months behind, like, you know, the Truth Commission come through there and then they went to WWF, then y'all probably got
and
when
then
they were on.
Why are they?
Right, exactly right, because it was months behind. They run them in order, I believe, but they run them behind because they were syndicated.
Okay.
And so, because I remember that, because what happened was when he syndicated that, though, I had to, like, he did that in the early 90s the first time. And see, what was funny was it would come on in Memphis live, and I would be in Dallas, Texas as a heel manager. Right there when we took the Sportatorium over and all that shit.
Right.
And so it would, ESPN would show that show. And then we would go live in Memphis, and I was supposed to just be this referee. And the people were saying, no, you ain't no fucking referee, Dundee. We saw you. So right then we had to go ahead.
That's like the first internet.
Right. We had to go ahead and go, fuck, we fucked ourselves on this angle. So we went ahead and had them act like they fired me, and my dad spanked me with the belt, and then I bring the heels out and we turned on my dad. We were going to prolong that, and I was going to fall in love with this woman named Sylvia who was in the stud stable, Robert Fuller's wife. And see, they always made me shave my mustache and take my earrings out because they were going to make me grow a mustache, put my earrings in. I'm trying to hit on this older chick, and my dad said, fuck you doing? And then I turned on my dad. But we had to do it real quick because we syndicated the show and fucked ourselves.
Right. And
in that angle anyway, not in the rest of them.
And who's going to fuck you when they're fucking Robert Fuller, right?
Right. Dude, yeah, right. Robert, yeah, he hung like a fucking donkey.
Huge? Is it huge?
Oh, huge. Fucking thing is huge. He's hung too, jumbo. named his Jumbo.
That's his nickname, or he named it that?
That's a nickname for it, Jumbo. He'd say, I'm going to put Jumbo in hers. Oh, bless her heart.
But what I want to get at is PG-13, man. So you and Wolfie, like, it was, first of all, it was in the world of Memphis wrestlers, the old dudes, right? It was like these two young kids.
Skinny kids, too.
Taking over, right?
Yeah, skinny kid. Well, it was one of them, Jerry Jarrett's really smart about getting somebody over. So what he did was, Jeff Jarrett came and saw me and Wolfie doing it in a little town down the street here called Beaver Dam, Kentucky.
How does Wolfie get into this?
Okay, well, Wolfie was wrestling as Airwolf, and I was wrestling as Jamie Dundee, JCI.
Was it like Air Jordan, but Airwolf?
Well, yeah, right. In
Was
a
it?
sense, he was
Okay.
Airwolf. He because he could do the flips and flies, so he was the air kind of person, And so me and him were wrestling each other, doing little matches all around here in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and Beaver Dam and Central City. And Jeff Jarrett came to a show. Oh, I'm sorry, that was after PG-13. Chris Champion said Wolfie D changed from Airwolf and became Wolfie D. Switched heel, put the shorts on, and became this rapper dude. And Chris Champion said, Jamie, why don't y'all do that together? So that would get over like fuck as a tag team. So we started doing it together, and we didn't have no name. No, we were just JC Ice and Wolfie D, and we were doing it. And Jeff Jarrett came and saw us and said, y'all, man, that looks good. Because we had the hubcap on and the gimmick, and we had fake gold teeth we slipped on shit. And he's like, hey, have you ever showed this to my dad? I'm like, no, I wouldn't. Why would I think to show it to your dad, And he's like, all right, so we had to come up with a name. I called Jerry Jarrett and set up an appointment to come see him at the mansion and show him our gimmick. And so Wolfie was funny. Wolfie was on the shitter, man, and that commercial was come on and said, rated PG-13 or something with the movie. And he goes, that's it. That's to be our name. Said that fucking everybody knows that. So he thought of that. So we went to my mom's house because my mom lived in Nashville and I lived up here in Kentucky. Wolfie lived in Nashville, so we met at my mom's house and we painted our first pair of shorts up.
It was like puffy paint, right?
Yeah, with puffy paint. That's what I still paint them with today, man. Shit lasts 25 years. I got my pair back there on the wall. It's still my very first pair, and this shit don't wear off, man. It don't. I got to give a puffy paint a plug. Go buy puffy paint, it don't wear off. But anyway, we painted them all up and then went to Jerry Jarrett's house and we showed it to him. And it was funny because we were like bummed out because he said, I love it. He said, it's a Rick. And I told Wolfie, I said, if we get him to smile, he'll give us a job. And so
you know all the tricks.
So, yeah,
That's the best part. You know all the fucking
if we
tricks.
get him to smile, he's gonna give us a job. So if he don't smile, we're fucked. So when we put the outfit on, he was looking at it, because he's seen everything. You know what I'm saying? He's Jerry Jarrett. He's invented half the shit. And so I put that hubcap on my neck, and he said, "What the hell's that?" I said, "It's the finish." And he cocked that smile. I looked at Wolfie like, "Oh, we're good." And he said, "This is what I want to do. I want to make rap videos with you guys."
Oh, are those on YouTube? Because I've seen them.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Those are the ones from the 90s and fucking, hey, oh. And I thought, cool. And he said, so what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 rap videos. We're going to run them each week. And then, y'all come in 4 weeks later. Well, fuck, by the time we got there, we were over with the brothers in Memphis, man. You know what I'm saying? We were
the
supposed
brothers.
to be little heel. Oh, yeah. They were, hey. Oh, and then a lot of them knew that's Jamie Dundee because I've been running around that area for 2 or 3 years already and wrestling little matches here and there. And, I got my first juice job there in Memphis Coliseum. So, I mean, people knew that was me. At the exact moment, they may not have known, but, I was always JC Ice from the early 90s. And in Memphis, it was live Memphis TV for an hour and a half. So a lot of times you could be on TV for years in our company and only on in Memphis because if they cut that 30 minutes out, you wasn't on the loop. You didn't have to make the loop. You see what I'm saying? That's what Lawler used to do a lot. Lawler would be live every Saturday morning. He'd be on a live show, and he would be at the Monday Night Memphis Coliseum, but they would cut that 30 minutes out. And so he didn't have to make the loop.
Gotcha.
And they would edit it up and just Dundee and Idol or whoever would just make the loop because Lawler said the champion shouldn't go to small towns.
Was that a rule?
Yeah, well, that's what he said. Champion shouldn't go to little towns. So why shouldn't he? You're the champion of all towns.
You should make those little towns big towns, right?
Right. But he just didn't want to go nowhere.
Did you like Jerry Jarrett?
I did. I still talk to Jerry Jarrett every now and then. I no-showed him on his radio show. About 6 months ago, he had a new radio show, and I was his first guest. I don't know. I no-showed him. I was his first guest, and I no-showed him.
I'm glad you're here with me. Yeah.
You see, you had to drive to my house.
Yeah. I gave you no choice.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the type of person, at the exact moment I say I'll do it for you, but hell, I'm the type of guy, the phone will ring, and I'll just see Jerry Jarrett, and I'll be like, I don't want to talk to him today.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And forget all about what the whole reason you're calling for anyway. So
let's talk about the dudes over the years.
Man, there's been lots of dudes.
Who'd you travel with a lot?
A lot of time in the 90s, I traveled with Jesse James, the Road Dogg, because I lived in Arkansas at that time, so it was me and the Road Dogg, Brian Christopher, Spellbinder, all coming out of Memphis making this loop. So we'd all jump in the same vehicle or whatever. Most of the time, it'd be me and the Road Dogg in my little green car, and Spellbinder and Brian theirs because they didn't do nothing wrong. Me and Jesse smoked.
Gotcha.
So we rode together, but we followed each other. And then in the early 90s when I was managing, I rode around with, I loved riding around with Doug Gilbert, Eddie Gilbert. And but my dad wouldn't let me ride with a lot of guys because he knew I was just riding with him for the party and shit. So I rode with my dad in my very first managing things. Then Scotty Riggs, Scotty Riggs, you know him from WCW. Me and him rode together for about 2 or 3 years.
The American Males?
Out of Memphis, American Males out of Memphis. Most of the time by myself, though.
Yeah.
Because when you do cocaine, you don't want to share it.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, you don't want to share it.
Every day?
Yeah, well, I like for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, I lived here in Kentucky. So I would go to Memphis and home. Then I go to Louisville and home, and I go to Evansville and home, and then the only time I would stay over was on Friday nights when I had to do the TV show on Saturday because we were booked in Missouri or Arkansas or something to stay over. And then when I met my girl in Arkansas that I moved there with my daughter's mama there, I lived there for 4 years. So Monday night home, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, stay over up this end, and then Thursday.
I'm saying cocaine every day.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Like
definitely.
every 3 hours? I don't know.
Oh, no. Cocaine you do... Depends on the situation. Where you know what I'm saying? Cocaine is one of them things you can do some now and put it away and go to around and wrestle, come back, do some more. Or
to you, was it like gum or, like it just whatever?
Yeah. To me, especially at the end there in the 97, 98, 99, it became a part of my life. I can remember flying into ECW and Tracy's mother starting to lecture me, and I'm pulling out all my shit to do my coke. And he's looking in the rearview mirror. Dundee, you flew on a plane, Dundee? Hell's wrong with you? I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with me, Smuts. I said, shut up, you just drive.
Right.
And,
means I'm smart. I can get it through the plane.
Yeah, fuck it. But, I mean, back then you could carry anything on an airplane as long as you kept it in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? They searched bags, and, they didn't search your pocket.
Right.
Nowadays, probably a little different, but since 2001 or fucking 9/11, I believe it's all different. But
sure.
Back then, 96, 97, 98, I remember waking up, passed out on a plane, that they were beating me in the chest with the mag flashlights, the cops were. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I mean, this shit, it hurt so bad it woke me up, but what they did was they said I had a heart attack. And I'm like, I had no fucking heart attack. I'm a wrestler. So I went on to that. Was actually on the same trip with the WWF story with the 500 miles and all that. They said I had a fucking heart attack. Said the plane had been deboarded for 40 minutes. Well, they'd have took you to jail or fucking took you to hospital or something. Now
right.
They just let me get up and walk to my next plane and fly on.
And they saved your life with a mag light.
Yeah, with a mag flashlight. Hit me in the chest with a mag flash because I remember waking up thinking, fuck, that hurts.
Is that the official procedure to grab your mag?
I guess, man.
Bash
They had
you?
the blood pressure on, and I just remember going... And I was like, what? I just remember waking up going, what the fuck are y'all doing? And they're like, Mr. Dundee, this plane has been deboarded for 40 minutes. And I'm like, well, I was tired. And I just got up and left. I mean, I left all my shit on top, on my briefcase and everything. I mean, nowadays they would have rushed you to the hospital right then. But fuck, I don't know what they were doing. They were trying to keep it under hush-hush or something.
A different time, right?
Yeah, 97.
A different time. And now here you are. I mean, you wrestle... Here
Little
and there,
as possible.
you love your home.
Love my home, love my wife, love my children. First time ever that I've loved someone more than me, so it's pretty nice.
Oh shit, you were gone for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did 4 years in prison for child support. No prior record, never did nothing. The guy in front of me raped and sodomized a 13-year-old boy, and they gave him 2 years. I didn't pay $50 a week to some bitch, and I got 4 years. I don't understand it, and still don't. But it's in the Kentucky, it's Commonwealth bullshit.
Okay.
But that all's gone. It's all. It was good for me.
Yeah.
It made me realize that it ain't all about me, and it ain't my world. It really woke me up. I think everybody ought to have to do just a little bit, just to see how bad you think life's bad. Go to fucking jail and prison. It sucks, man. It fucking sucks.
You know Mitch Ryder, yeah?
Very well.
Yeah.
Grew up with Claude Mitchell Bell. Me and him has run the road since he was that whole time I'm talking about. He was there.
There's a story about how like Mitch went into jail, and then like 2 years in, he's he started his own wrestling promotion, like in jail, and he's teaching the guys how to work for Smokes or something.
I'm sure he was, because Mitch has always been a hustler. Mitch
Right.
was a hustler. When I met Mitch was I was 16 or 17, and Mitch, I'm 41. I think Mitch is 40, so I think he's a year younger than me. He taught me the hustle about taking the dollar bill, and you put tape on the end of it, and you feed it into a Coke machine, and you pull it out. You can't do it now, I'm sure, but you could feed it in the Coke machine, and you could pull it out, and it would register $1, and you hit coin return, get that dollar. So you could stand in. Each Coke machine has probably $80 to $150 worth of quarters in it, and just sit there and empty the fucker, and then go to the next one. He was the first person I ever saw eat for free. Like, just call up Taco Bell and go, hey, I was in there yesterday, and I had a 10-pack of tacos, and y'all fucked them up. Y'all told me come get some new ones. They like, come on through. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How does that happen, man? And then he taught me. I mean, he was a survivor. But he grew up rich. His family's rich. His grandmother's really wealthy. So he just liked being the.
Well, I read the Regal book, and in it he said he grew up well, but as he became a wrestler, he made himself poor. And I feel the same way. It's like not that I grew up with all the money in the world, but my parents were fine.
Right.
But it was like, no, I'm in this life now, and every dollar I'm going to get is, it's either I get it or spend it, or it's going to come from wrestling.
Right.
And I feel the mentality. But every time I have like a Memphis guy on, or a guy that started in the South, I always want to know these tricks. And I always ask about the hustle, and I'm glad that you finally someone fucking came on here and told
sure.
some.
I mean, Mitch Ryder taught me the hustle was like. See, I never was a thief. I stole 3 times growing up, and they were from my dad. He caught me all 3 times. And he kicked my fucking teeth in, so I realized I wasn't no good at this, so I didn't steal. But Mitch Ryder and a couple other guys, the kid, there was actually a kid named Tracy Hopkins. Brian Hopkins and Tracy Johnson, they were actually security for PG-13 when we very first began. They would go to the ring with security shirts on like rappers had, and they would go to the ring. But, of course, Jerry said, I'm not paying 2 guys just to walk y'all the fuck
right.
But, I mean, it looked good in outlaw towns, you know what I'm saying? And they would pay them all extra, $20 a piece, and we was all 1 carload. So,
right.
But they would all steal. So they would go into Kmart or Walmart, and they would steal. And then I would return it, because back then, anything under $50, you didn't need no receipt. And they would give you cash. So they would steal things like one of them electric razors for $40, a sweatsuit for $30. And then I would just go back in and return it, and they would give me the money for it. And we would drive from here to Huntsville, Alabama, and back.
Just play that game the whole time.
Hitting every Kmart and Walmart, every Kmart and Walmart. Come home with $2,000 or $3,000.
Fuck.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we wrestled, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we hustled.
Right.
And
you come home with $2,000 or $3,000, but you make like $100 at the fucking shitty show.
Sure, $100 shitty show. But we loved the wrestling part so much that it didn't make fuck. You know what I'm saying? So they did that, and that's how we survived to support our wrestling habit. Because my daddy was always, if you go to the gym, blah, blah, and I was always like, well, fuck you, I'm not going to the gym. And, my dad turned me against the gym because everything Bill said was God, and so I'm not, fuck you, I'm not listening to you. And I really wish I would have. My rotator cuffs wouldn't be fucked up. My hips, my ankles.
That's a kid, though, right? Yeah. Of course.
But,
especially when your father's maybe a little more militant than most or whatever.
Yeah, right, yeah. And if it's, if not his way, it's no fucking way and all that, and just... So, but I mean, and the women, because see, you got to remember, we wrestled in the same town every day, 365 days a year. We're in Memphis every single Monday, Louisville every Tuesday. You start to know these people as your family,
right?
Whether you let it admit it or not, as the big star wrestler, without these people, you can't. Cause see, like we used to say, okay, there's a kid that wrestles around here. His name is Pothead John. He wrestles, you know who that is? He wrestles around here. He wrestles for Master Rich and guys like that. But when he was a kid, him and this other kid would come to Evansville Coliseum, and me and Wolfie knew that we were going to make 25 or 30 extra bucks as long as they were there because they would buy our pictures. You know what I'm saying? We depended on them, whether they knew it or not, which I told them years later. We depended on them because we only made $40. So between us, we made $80. That extra 30 was going to feed us and gas us to the next one where we can make some money. Sure. And so Monday nights, you get to know these people so much because you're in the same building every single Monday night, plus me being there since I was a little kid at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and Wolfie growing up in Nashville. We really got over in Nashville. Nashville and Louisville was our 2 good towns.
Yeah. Well, now you made a petition to get on Redneck Island. It didn't work.
Well, it was just a minute too late. They had already had the people. They've been screening them people since August. I never even heard of it or saw it. I just had to be fucking around on Twitter, and it said, you want $100,000? Are you a redneck? You want to hang out with Stone Cold? Fill out this application. But by the time I did it, they had already had the people picked.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it till September. The fucking show's already, they're running it right now.
Can we get you on? Oh, shit, you were on Springer. I mean, you were made to be on TV.
Yeah, I was on Springer. I did 13 shows.
Yeah.
And I took over 500 shows to them. I worked for them for about 3 years, where every single Monday I flew to Chicago and took somebody.
Oh, took one of the boys. Made an angle, right.
My dad owned strip clubs back then, so they would call and say, hey, we need a girl to kiss a girl, or a girl that'll fuck a black guy, or a girl that'll kiss a fucking transvestite, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just go and call my dad strippers. I would call all the wrestlers I knew, all the outlaw people I knew. Somebody would do it.
Right.
Because they make a couple $100. I make $500 for bringing the show.
Yep.
They pay for everything. It's
Nobody's
bumping.
nobody's bumping.
It's a limo ride in and out, and we treat it like kings, and we're home in 48 hours.
And now, I mean, the Springer thing's done. The Redneck Island, you should be there. Like, I think there needs to be something. You got to be on my television, man. Would you leave the house to get on?
Of course.
If the money's there.
Of course. Or just bring the cameras here and just film me. Yeah. But see, Jerry Jarrett did that. He showed up with a whole camera crew, which they're still trying to get this show off the ground. It's called Addicted to Wrestling. It's me, Brian Christopher, and Dutch Mantell. And it's the story of 3 guys from the same world, but all in different scenarios. I fucked mine up with drugs in my mouth and not playing.
I thought they were gonna make you a fireman for a day.
No, that would be a good show. Make Jamie Dundee something.
Like a baker. He's a baker.
Fuck yeah, I go on Rachel Ray. Yeah. Make my loops, and then Dutch Mantell got too old, and the wrestling world threw him away. And Brian Christopher had it all, fucked it up, but he wants one more shot. Me, I fucked it up. I don't want one more shot. You know, if you call me today and say, Jamie Dundee, I want you to work for me and my company, and I'm going to pay you this amount of money. I don't know. It'd have to be a lot of money. Because, right. I mean, I don't like it. I'm over it. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't do cocaine no more. Wrestling's not fun. When I did cocaine, wrestling was fun. It's not fun no more. I hate it. I hate being there. I just hate it.
Do you watch your stuff?
Yeah, and see, I sit back there, but I don't even watch much of that anymore. I don't. Poker and football.
Poker and football.
That's about it for me.
Do you do well in poker?
I do very well in poker. I probably make more than most wrestlers make a week. I do at home in this chair on poker.
Do you do well in, what do you do, fantasy football?
No. I play fantasy football this year. I've never played fantasy football before. I just watch football. I got NFL Network. That's just all I care about. It seems like what I keep up with. It consumes my time. NASCAR got too boring to me. I'm a redneck, but I'm not that redneck. To watch a bunch of cars go around in a circle.
That's gross.
My dad's high on it now. He loves it. It's fun. If you go to them, like we used to go to Talladega every year. My dad had the infield. That's fun.
No, I went to the Indy 500, man. It was brutal.
Yeah, the Indy 500 is brutal. This is fucking a bunch of rednecks on the infield partying Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the races on Sunday.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference. You put the campers and you barbecue and you meet all the guys and you drink and you party and you do whatever you want and you get falling down drunk and everybody on Saturday recovers to watch the race on Sunday and go home. You know, because the Indy 500, that would be brutal.
Yeah. You're on Twitter?
I am on Twitter.
Do you want to hear from these people or no?
Sure, I want to hear from all of them.
Okay.
Jamie Dundee, fuck you.
At Jamie Dundee, fuck you?
Fuck you. F-U-K-U.
No, it ain't.
Yeah, F-U-K-U.
Wait, hold on. That's not your Twitter handle.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Jamie Dundee, fuck you.
Really?
Yeah, I got banned on the other one for stalking.
Oh, you're stalking?
Joey the fucking fag style.
Oh, stop.
Well, every time he said something or just anything, I would just talk. I'm watching you, you fucking whore, you punk bitch. Well, he shouldn't have called me out. He called me and he started it.
I like Joey.
I didn't even know who Joey was. So maybe that's why he picked on me. But he did a video on the 24/7, and he challenged me, and he said anytime, and he throwed his hands. And he said, I've knocked out bigger, badder men than you, Jamie Dundee. And for a 30-minute fucking WWE 24/7 show, he talked about me for 26 of them.
That's good press.
Fuck. I love Tracy Mose comments. Dundee, $1 million advertisement for free. $1 million advertisement for free. But I don't know what he was mad at me for, because I made fun of Jim Ross's half a face. I don't know if that's what it was. But, I mean, I guess I'd just say what most people would think. And my nephew, Dylan, who is Bobby Eaton's, I call him Bobby Lee. Bobby Eaton's son, Dylan, he's like his number one fucking wrestler is his Uncle Jamie. And he told me somewhere on a shoot interview, someone asked me who was the greatest announcer I ever worked with. And I said Lance Russell and Gordon Soley. And the guy said, what about Joey Styles? And I said, who the fuck is Joey Styles? Because, but to my credit, Joey Styles was never in the buildings. Joey Styles, and he did the talkovers for ECW.
Right.
All the shows we did at ECW, he was never in Revere, Massachusetts, and all these fucking towns we were in. And I don't know who Joey's.
You're an old school Southern Memphis guy.
Right, and I never got to ECW shows. You know what I'm saying? I come back to the South and fucking do my thing in USWA. And so I didn't know who Joey Styles was, and I guess maybe it offended him or something. I don't know. I don't know why he was mad. Tommy Dreamer called him and asked him.
Yeah.
Said, why the fuck would you say that about Dundee? You poke fucking a bee's nest, you'll finally get stung.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I haven't knocked nobody in years. I've been raising my wife. I've been behaving. I haven't done anything wrong. And this guy wants to fucking call me out on 24/7. So I'm like, okay. So I went to all the magazines and went to everybody. I agree. I'll fight you any fucking time you want, bitch. And so Tommy Dreamer called him and said, well, why would you say? He said it was my opinion and I'm sticking to it. Well, okay, fine, but he's not the one to fucking knock me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's definitely not the one to knock me. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, The Rock, any of them guys have the right to knock me. They've earned it. And the best part, the fucking match they showed was one of the best matches we ever had with Spike and Mike. And then we went over. So it really made him look bad because, everything he said was true. Jamie Dundee's a redneck, no good piece of shit. If you don't believe me, he said Google him. So right then, all my shit shot up 10,000 views. It was nice. But as far as, I don't know the guy. That's why I was like, who the fuck is this jack off to call me out,
I like Joey.
And I may like
Tommy
Joey.
Dreamer, usually, maybe we'll bring you together.
Fuck, I'd love it. Let's do it.
In friendship, though, positivity.
I wanted to fucking book a cage fight on pay-per-view and let fucking Chucky Liddell train me and Tito Ortiz train him.
Well,
and then
I don't see that happening.
I know, but it sounds good.
How about we all just have a picnic?
Okay, I'd love to have a picnic.
High Spots will sponsor it.
High Spots sponsored it. Tell them to pay me.
That's it, bud.
All right, pal. Well, I'm glad. I hope
hold on. Twitter. Jamie Dundee, fuck you.
Jamie Dundee, fuck you. I have a Facebook, and it's just Jamie Dundee, but one of them's like full, with 5,000 people full, and the other one's. But I don't ever get on the fucking.
All right.
If I do, I got to get booked.
All right.
And then my wife will maybe go to work. But Jamie Dundee, fuck you. And I would love it. I'll chat with everybody. You know me, I love to talk.
All right, I love it, man. Thank you.
Colt, thank you, brother.
I appreciate it. Awesome.
No problem,
awesome.
The best. He's the best. I love Jamie Dundee. I love JC Ice. I love the fact that me and him are like buds. I didn't ever see that coming. We come from two completely different worlds. But the most importantly is we are both in the world of professional wrestling. And that's where the bond comes. That's where the friendship comes. Too cool, man. Honestly, I'm like a little fanboy. I am. You hear me? For sure. 100%. I'm a fanboy of Jamie Dundee. I'd like to, you know what? Once Colt merch gets a little bigger, I'm going to start producing more shows. I'm going to get him on a television show. I'm going to call Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy and Jamie Dundee, we're going to work together, make something big for him. All right, before I get out of here, though, let's get some plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, the best way you can support ColtMerch.com, t-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, and much more. Plus DigitalColt.com, where I have the premium podcast, $5 wrestling movies, and Wrestling Road Diaries as a digital download. DigitalColt.com and ColtMerch.com. I'm on Twitter. See who the next guest of the Art of Wrestling is going to be, what I have to say about the world of wrestling, or just in general, at Colt Cabana. Follow me. I have a very public email, ColtWrestling@gmail.com. Maybe you have something to say to me, or you're a promoter and want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. I love getting snail mail. I have a P.O. box. That's on the front of WeLoveColt.com. I have a web series every single Monday, CreativeHasNothingForYou.com. Myself and Marty DeRosa. Go check it out. Takes a minute. Not that hard to watch. YouTube/Highspots and Facebook/AOW Podcast. Like it. We'll talk about each episode each week. Friday, November 9th, Rahway, New Jersey, ProWrestlingSyndicate.com. Saturday, November 10th, from 2 to 4, Chicago, Illinois, ChallengerComics.com. A free podcast. You got to be over the age of 10 to come. That's a hint to all you babies out there. And that night, ChikaraPro.com in Logan Square. Sunday, November 18th, Waipahu, Hawaii, ActionZoneWrestling.com. Saturday, November 24th, Berwyn, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Sunday, November 25th, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, WrestleCade.com. Sunday, December 2nd, Sittingbourne, England, RevolutionProWrestling.com. Friday, December 14th, Kaiser, Oregon, DOAProWrestling.com. Saturday, December 15th, New Westminster, British Columbia, the Vancouver area, Canada, ECCW.com. And Sunday, December 16th, Portland, Oregon. Is that better? Oregon. DOAProWrestling.com. That's it, guys. That's everything. This has been The Art of Wrestling this week. Hey, for Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.
You can come in. It's my daughter, Blaze. Hi, Blaze. Say hi, Colt.
How you doing?
You want to be on the iTunes? Say hi, Blaze. Say I love One Direction.